new provisions are coming into effect today. Why does that matter for you? Well, your paycheck may be getting a boost, some people's paycheck. Louise Radnofsky in Washington now joins us. Louise, good morning.
Morning.
So let's talk about this first. There are two provisions. Let's talk about the first provision, where insurance companies are going to provide rebates, right, if they aren't spending a certain percentage of your premiums on medical care. So what are the details and who will be impacted?
Exactly. Well, that's it exactly, but you may not see anything in your paycheck. And the reason for that is that most of the rebates are going directly to the employers who run group plans. People with the largest employers usually self-insure, and so they don't necessarily have this arrangement with the insurance companies. But the smaller employers will get the check, have to decide whether to pass it on to employees, depending on how much they personally pay towards the cost of the plan. And then if so, which employees, how much, and then they have to figure out whether to start sending out checks to everybody or just to use the premiums as a credit towards next year's.
So when you say small employers, so who specifically, your companies that have fewer than certain number of employees, those are the folks that potentially could see a boost to their paycheck depending on what their employer decides?
It's more that largest employers, including Dow Jones actually, has an arrangement whereby they assume the risks of their own insurance pools, and then they use an insurance company as an administrator, but that insurance company isn't actually an insurer. It's more sort of large-ish companies, nothing near the 50 mark, although those are included too, but just folks who aren't into this really big sort of situation.
Okay. Now, let's talk also about the second provision. Tell us about that. What is that one?
Well, this is the contraception provision that is widely known mostly for the controversy associated with it. It'll actually apply, the Department of Health and Human Services says, to around 47 million women and covers more than just contraception, everything from gestational diabetes screening to HIV screening and breastfeeding supplies and counseling. This is part of the preventative services without a copay requirement of the health law. There shouldn't be an out-of-pocket cost for the consumer. But again, you might not see the changes take effect immediately.
Okay, let's by the way, let's jump over quick to get a full screen of the changes that we're actually going to see as a result of this second provision that goes into effect today. Coverage for women's services that now employers will have to provide include contraception, like including the morning after pill, sterilization, breastfeeding support, gestational diabetes screening, and also, like you said, HIV, domestic violence. So, Louise, one question I have also here, you mentioned these are costs that the employers can't pass on to their employees. Will it be made up elsewhere?
Well, these are the costs that the insurance plans, whether they're run by an insurance company and purchased by an employer or the employer is running their own plan, can't allow for a copay. There are some estimates that this will probably lead to a small increase in the overall cost of a plan, maybe around 1%, possibly even as high as 2%. That said, the insurance industry's trade group points out that a number of insurance companies have been covering these already, including in some cases without a copay, because they think it saves them money in the long run. So they sort of have a different relationship with it. The key issue, of course, is for Catholic business owners who really feel as though this is morally objectionable and it's a violation of their religious beliefs to be required to pay for something that they don't believe in.
Louise, let's quick focus on that. Just one last quick answer while we still have you. Of course, the contraception provision has been fought by a lot of religious groups and religious employers. What is the status of that fight today?
There are a couple of interesting lawsuits. One is a business in Colorado that won a temporary injunction against it on Friday, and the other is a business in another large group of Catholic businesses that is challenging it in Michigan and is seeking a temporary injunction. The Department of Health and Human Services says it is going into effect. They are going to be enforcing it. They don't see any changes to it.